Hey everybody, how you doing today? Sorry, I'm getting this out a little bit late to you here. Not been feeling so great. I think the family's got the flu that's been going around, so I apologize. I'm not going to be my usual perky self. Had a bit of a cough, lingering cough still going on, and but I want to talk about intro to the course, review the syllabus, the usual first week stuff, um, and then yeah, this one's not too bad. So I know you folks know how to read, so I'm not going to read everything here. I'm going to try and pull out the highlights. So this is my cell number. I have an office phone, but I don't use it because I'm just not there very often. And you can actually text my cell phone, which is really nice. So feel free to call or text. It's the summer, so I'm not usually up before 8 or 9 or so, but I'm up till midnight or later almost all the time. So feel free to call or text anytime between those hours. And let me know what time's a good time to call back if I miss you, because I'm usually up at 11 p.m. and it's quiet and I'm getting work done. So if you're sleeping because you have to get up for work at 6 in the morning, you probably don't want me to call at 11. So that's all. Do take a look at that survey for the when to meet for my office hours. I'll try and accommodate as many people as possible. I like doing the evening hours because I know a lot of folks are busy during the day. So, after my kids are in bed, 9, 10, 11 at night, I'm happy to meet with folks if that works for you. So let me know what works well. You can schedule here with my Calendly link. You'll get a 15-minute appointment, which is great. We can meet over Discord or Zoom. This is my Zoom room here, password CIS. We can screen share in either one. Whatever you're comfortable with is great. We don't meet because we're online asynchronous. Our classroom is Desire to Learn here. This is a copy paste of the course catalog description. There's no prereqs, so this is assumed your first programming class, and that's great. So we're going to take you from the ground up. Some general education outcomes. We assess critical thinking. So one of the hardest things in programming is learning how to solve problems in a simple enough way that you can make a computer do it. So we'll be able to apply the knowledge to an assigned task. So the things that we learn are like tools and techniques that we learn in Java to let us solve problems, right? We make the computer do things for us. And then other common course outcomes, these get assessed as well, specific to the course here. This will be no matter who teaches it, what section, when. Sorry, I've been blowing my nose all day today, and it is just raw right now. Um, these things get assessed. So looking at utilizing an IDE to develop a running Java program, edit, compile, and run a program, use the debugger. That doesn't make any sense right now. That's okay. We'll get to all of that as we go. We'll identify constants and variables for primitive data types. Yeah, okay, this is no fun to read through until you've actually taken the class, but we'll come back to this later and we can look at it. Eventually we get to graphical user interface programs with event handling. This is my favorite because these are what most people are familiar with, and they're much more fun. All right, our textbook, we are using this open educational resource. I have a copy here from Mr. Eck, who published it. He retired end of last year. So I wasn't sure if his website would still be available. So I'm working on doing some edits to it because I don't like necessarily all of his material. I want to change a couple things. So we'll see if I can get to that as we go. But I've got it on my website here, ericstronowski.github.io/Java-Notes9. And that's our main textbook here. That's your main source of reference. Now, I don't generally teach out of the textbook because my goal is that I want to give you examples, and then you can read it in the textbook for examples, and then you can work on the lab exercises for practice, and then you can work on the projects. So you're sort of seeing the material more than once, and then you're practicing it, and then you're doing it, taking it a step further with a project. So that's how that goes. So I've heard a little bit of feedback. People said they wish they used the textbook, but other people really like that style because then they can see more than one example. So it's hard to make a match for everybody. And then some other materials. We're going to use all sorts of cool tools. Hopefully you get a chance to check out the tools video. We're going to use GitHub. They are a hosting provider of the Git source control tool, founded by our friend Linus Torvald, who also was the founder of Linux. He's amazing. Git is the most widely used source control tool in the industry. GitHub is just one provider, a cloud provider of the service. We're going to use the GitHub desktop client. I like this because it's the same desktop client for interacting with Git and GitHub, no matter what language I teach. It makes my life easy, and it's familiar, and it's a pretty easy tool here. We're going to use my Discord server here if you'd like to hang up for office hours, or I also have a class-specific channel if you've got questions and want to post in something that's not a forum that, technology has been around since 2000. Discord's great. Fantastic. You can always ping me on Discord as well. Because if you've got questions, someone else has the same question. So I love when people ask, because then anyone else in the class has a chance to see it. We're going to use IntelliJ IDEA. The community edition is the free one here. You don't need the licensed version. We don't need any of the cool bells and whistles. You can get a free license if you want with your educational or EDU account, but you're not going to need it. And later when we get to GUI stuff, we'll get into Scene Builder. You don't need it right now. If you don't install the tools, you're also welcome to use the virtual desktops here, or if you have a Chromebook. You can connect to the college virtual computers, virtual desktops here, and run all those tools as well. All right. When it comes to plagiarism and cheating, I am a stickler about this because it's a big pet peeve of mine. People who cheat in my class will not pass. That's an automatic failure of the class. There is no 0 on the assignment. There is no try again. There is no, you just fail. If you engage in academic dishonesty, you will fail the class and be reported to the dean's office. The dean's office keeps a list here, and I believe we still have a 3-strike policy where after 3 strikes, you'll no longer be welcome to be a student at OCC because cheaters should not get degrees. And really, it's in all of your best interests for this, because if you get a degree from OCC and you go get hired and you have no idea what you're doing because you cheated your way through school, that employer is going to think OCC did a terrible job teaching you and not going to want to hire, they're not going to want to hire other OCC graduates. So it devalues the degree for everyone. So please don't cheat. Don't let people cheat off you. Don't show people your work when they just want to. Just reference it, because they're not going to reference it. They're going to copy paste. And then you both fail, and it's awful. It's a lot of paperwork. I hate failing people. I've done it basically every semester since I started teaching 11 years ago. I'm an old person now. But if you're not sure, please ask. I know programmers get paid a lot of money in the real world to copy paste code, but it's just like an English paper, right? You're going to cite your source and you have to add your original work to it. You can't turn in a 5-page English paper with one big old quote and say, hey, here's my paper, quote. Here's my source. It doesn't work like that, right? You get to take bits and pieces and you add original work to it. Right? That's how we'll do it here. So I'll give examples as we go. If you're not sure, just let me know. That being said, Chegg.com is awful. I hate them. They are terrible people. They make money by letting people cheat. And they're currently getting sued by Pearson, who I also hate. So hopefully they both just lose a bunch of money and go out of business, because they're both awful. So don't post questions there. Don't cite answers there. Any use of Chegg.com or similar sites like Course Hero or whatever the other ones are will be considered academic misconduct. You will fail the class. It is awful, right? Just stay off of it, because you don't need it, right? You're here to learn something and to practice those things, right? This one here, in the OCC handbook, which I'm sure all of you read, every word of it. Here it was super thrilling to read that student handbook. The acquisition of tests or other academic materials or distribution of the same is academic dishonesty. So posting questions, posting tests, posting assignments to Chegg immediately is a violation there, because you're distributing the material, right? Not even mentioning that you're going to copy someone's answer and not give them credit, because who's dumb enough to give credit to Chegg for, like, hey, Chegg wrote this answer for me and handed it in to me? Like, no, it's awful. I actually did have one person do that. I don't know what was going on in their head, why they thought that was a good idea to leave the reference to Chegg in there, but they did, and they failed, and I hope they learned from it. All right, copy paste the student code of conduct. Make sure you remain in class until you're dismissed. Of course, for this online async class, this is super relevant. Excuse me. All right, the grading policy, what everyone cares about here. So this is how you get your score in the class. So I use a weighted system. So all of the labs together will make up 10% of your overall score. So just because a lab is worth 10 points and a project's worth 10 points does not mean they're the same 10 points. Okay, it's just within its category. So projects will make up 30%, quizzes will make up 10%, midterm 10%. This is our only exam here. And we'll have a final project that makes up 40% of your overall score. So if you don't complete the final project, you don't get it in, you won't pass the class. And that is intentional. This is our capstone, putting everything together that we've done. I can give a WS mark, but you do need to request it from your official student email address. I'm happy to do that for you, as long as you haven't presented the final project. I can issue a W. That's basically a withdrawal, ever so slightly different because reasons, but I don't know what those are. For end grades, basically, if you don't turn anything in the first 15% of class, in 15-week classes, that's 3 weeks, you can get an end grade and you're removed from the class. It's financial aid issues, those sorts of things. And for late work, I don't take late work. If you're traveling this summer, because it is summer and you're going to be gone, let me know. I can be flexible on some things. The projects are really hard to be flexible on because I post solutions to the projects. Labs and quizzes, I can flex those if I need to for you, if you're going to be traveling or have something going on, because I get that it's summer, but the projects no, because I post solutions. And then part of the self-assessment that you do is telling me how you did on yours. All right, so some standard student policy support information. This should be the same in every syllabus you see. FERPA, I don't tell anybody anything. I say go look at D2L because that's where all your grades are. Americans with Disabilities Act, contact the Access Office. They'll get the paperwork over to me, and I'm happy to do whatever reasonable accommodations we agree upon. They recommend the sooner the better because it does take a little bit of time. The Academic Support Center is one of my favorite things about OCC. We have free or not free, no additional charge tutoring. It's not free because it's paid for by your tuition and tax dollars. We've got several tutors here. We got Michael, we've got Jordan, and we have Mr. Tim, who can tutor for 1,500. Mr. Tim is fantastic. He was not a student of mine, but he's been a teacher for us before. After he retired out of the IT industry, he got a master's in math and teaches math classes now because he thought that'd be more fun than teaching CIS classes for whatever reason, sure. But Jordan and Michael are both students of mine. They're fantastic. You can book appointments with them for 1 hour slots, and they've got some awesome hours available. I think Auburn Hills had somebody who did CIS. They did last semester. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, Andre. I think Andre was a student of mine as well. So you can book through the Auburn Hills campus for Andre. Um, so yep. So take advantage of that. They can meet with you again for an hour appointment, which is great because I don't have that much time in my office hours because I've got 120 students that I need to be available for. So my appointments are 15-minute appointments. Again, happy to talk through things that aren't making sense as well, but you'll get a longer session with the tutors. For T2L issues, call them. That's like the website doesn't load, anything content related to me, other boring things. The technology appropriate use regulations, don't do dumb things with college resources or you'll lose access to those resources. For Netiquette, please be kind. Public safety's link is here. We're online async. It probably doesn't apply much. And the libraries are amazing. We've got some awesome resources out here. There's a whole IT catalog, essentially, of books on any topic in IT that you might be interested in. I'll find a link for that and post it later in the Discord, because that is phenomenal. So we've got some great resources there. Research databases, research guides, check out the library site. You can even meet with a librarian. They're awesome for helping you find information. All right, as for me, I try and get things graded within a week of the due date. If you check Rate My Professor, I suck at this. Last winter, I had some health issues that was in the hospital for a little while. That made, it was just kind of rough. The semester before that, one of my kids had some health issues, and it's been rough. So hopefully this summer there's less on my plate, and I can actually keep up with this stuff, and it should be great. So I'll let you know. For response time, 24 hours or less. If you haven't heard from me in more than 24 hours, please reach out again. I probably just missed it in the pile. Any good millennial, it all goes to my phone here, like emails and text and Discord and whatever. It all comes here. So unless my son swiped away the notification, I'll probably see it, get back to you pretty quick. And if you haven't heard from me, reach out again. I'm sorry, I probably just missed it. All right, and then our schedule. We start Thursdays at 12 a.m. and Wednesdays at 11:59 p.m. So this week here is our course introduction, GitHub, IntelliJ, and looking at Chapter 1. I don't have a lecture on Chapter 1. It's just some basic reading for you. It's a little bit of background on intro to computers, that sort of thing. Sorry, my nose is going crazy. Then we start getting into the material here. So in Chapter 2, we'll start our first project, and we have 2 weeks for every project. So we have 4 projects, and then the midterm a little bit later in the semester for the midterm, but we want to get through enough of the material here. And then the final project, again, is that last month of class I'll be working on. We'll have this final project work time last week. There's no new material here. It's a chance to check in with me, see how things are going, make sure we'll get across the finish line. And then final project presentations. You must present your final project. We'll do it over Zoom or Discord. You can show me that the different features work. We'll take a look at your code, have a quick chat about it. It's maybe 5-10 minutes and we're done. It goes pretty well. We've got a little bit of wiggle time. It doesn't have to happen on the 17th because the semester doesn't end until the following Monday. So we'll have some times, even starting earlier that week. If you get done early, you can present, or up through the next Monday. So, all right, that's the schedule. That's the plan for the semester. I'm looking forward to it. If there's anything I can do, or if you have any questions, please reach out and ask. I'll talk to you soon.